Hey, you beautiful beings. Welcome to Empowered Human with Nina Garcia. I am your host, and you are listening to the throwback episodes. Yeah, I have officially taken a pause on creating new episodes for the podcast so that I can focus on writing the book. It became very clear that while I have loved doing the podcast, I'm getting these episodes out every week to you all piecemeal. I was like, no more, no more. You all were like, please, please, can you get us all those skills and tools, Nina, in one area so that we can do the empowered human journey, so that we can really see what it's like from start to finish? To which I say, yes, absolutely. Let me get this to you. Yes. So what you're going to be hearing is this. You're going to be hearing throwback episodes from all 6 seasons, okay? It's not going to be every episode, so don't freak out on me yet. But it is going to be some of the episodes that were highlighted, that were popular, that we think, maybe you all missed and we want to bring it back. You're going to be hearing throwback episodes, and I am going to be listening along with you. I too want to hear about the journey and experience the journey that I had as we moved from Triggered Can We Play With That, the original podcast, all the way to Empowered Human with Nina Garcia. So you're going to hear personal stories. You're going to hear interviews. You're going to be given skills in every episode. Yes, you're going to be given tools in every episode for you to become skilled in. It is totally up to you whether you want to listen. If it's not the episode for you, skip to the next week, right? You just take what works for you, leave what doesn't. And if there's some stuff you're curious about, why don't you just go ahead and put that on the shelf? The podcast has always been about putting resources in the hands of people without needing to pay for it, right? And so this is no different. Even with these throwback episodes, what you're going to hear is this. We're going through, just as I said, you're going to still hear me talk at the beginning of each episode, letting you know, hey, we've had a transition. You're going to hear the original intro to the episode. You're going to hear the show music, and then you're going to hear the full original episode. This could mean that dates are off, that times are off, that people are talked about, that may no longer be in our lives, right? Just be aware of that. At the very end of the episode, you're going to see this face again come back to remind you that it was a throwback episode and to maybe offer you some adventure challenges as you move from week to week, right? Though the format of the episode did change over the years that we've done this podcast, the value is still there. So if you like something, definitely hit me up on Instagram at Drama Therapist Nina and be like, Nina, I love that throwback episode about XYZ thing. Yes, fill in the blank with that. Let me know. And if there's something that you're looking for in the meantime, also hit me up on Instagram at Drama Therapist Nina and let me know. Otherwise, stay curious and enjoy the ride, folks. I'll be right along there with you. Welcome to Empowered Human, the dramatically playful podcast that invites you to heal humanity, the one within you, me, and the world at large. I'm your host, drama therapist, empowerment specialist, and not to mention empowered human, Nina Garcia, and I'm so stoked you're joining me on the journey. Every Wednesday, you are invited to explore transforming from powered to empowered with genuinely human stories of courageous existence, healing from invalidation, and truly belonging to you. So wherever you are on the spectrum, from empowerment curious to empowered human ambassador, this podcast is designed to humanize. Get ready to lean into your edge, heal your worldview, and finally belong to you. This is Empowered Human. Hey you, Nina here. This episode plays with trauma awareness, and I mean, really, there is no trigger warning needed this go because we are going to be rocking it metaphor style. So I'm curious, you ready to play? Let's take a breath. So we're going to be playing with trauma awareness for the rest of this episode. And like I said, there's no trigger warning needed because we're really going to stay in this sort of allegory, metaphorical world of how can we start recognizing and relating trauma when it pops up. And we're going to play with it in a real fun way. And by real fun, I mean, it can be fun and I hope it's fun for you. We're going to be learning. We're going to be a little creative. Let's go. So
this episode is part of a series, right? It's Mental Health Awareness Month. We've done 2 episodes before this. We're going to have 4 total by the end of it, 1 for each week. And in the first episode, we did recognition around how do you notice your emotions. The second week was about how do you express those emotions so they don't get all bottled up and blow up later. And now this week is really about how do we start recognizing the bigger things that might be there, leading to patterns of I can't recognize my emotions and I can't deal with them because it feels overwhelming, Nina. I get it. So let's take another breath. And let's understand our trauma better. Because my question for you right at the top is, what is the cost? What is it costing you to not understand how trauma may be showing up in your life or in the life of the people that you know and that you love? I want to be able to give you more understanding around the human experience of it. So here goes. Let's imagine that your life is a river. And this is a great allegory that popped up from Peter Levine for anybody who wants to go out there and do a little research on this excellent trauma expert. But let's imagine again that your life is a river. And as you are cruising down this river in your boat or your float or your yacht, right, whatever it is, however comfortable you feel in the river that is your life, you are cruising on down it. And you can go all the way to the left banks of the river, and you can cruise in the center if you want, or you can go all the way to the right banks of the river, right? If nothing has ever bad, quote unquote, happened to you in your life, you have this great window of tolerance, buzzword, to be able to go from the left to the right and anywhere in between. Your window of tolerance is as wide and open as it can get. As you get older, certain things begin to happen to you. For some of us, this happens very young, and it begins to really shift the shape of our river for the rest of our lives. But what it looks like, regardless of the age it happens, is this. You're cruising on down your river, and then something happens. Something like, let's say in this case, a car accident. A car accident happens, and all of a sudden, in your river appear these like rocky rapids, right? And rapids are like there's rocks underneath you. It gets bumpy. You're like, I don't know if I can handle this, right? Because as some of us may know after a car accident, you may feel jittery, you may feel jumpy, you may feel anxious even to look at cars, much less drive them. You may be able to stay on back streets, but not go onto the highway, right? All of a sudden, these rapids have appeared, and your boat wants to try to steer clear of them because they're rough, but eventually it gets through them. Eventually, if you are getting through those rapids, you have learned how to regulate again. Your anxiety decreases over time, let's say about a month or so for most people, depending on what it is. And you're able to regulate more and more. Your window of tolerance increases again. The rapids slowly start to disappear, and your riding in that river of life gets a lot smoother. Right? We made it through. You learned how to deal with some difficult stuff, and you probably came out a little bit stronger. Then there's this funny little special thing that happens with our river of life. Sometimes those rapids can reappear. Sometimes. Often, what will end up happening is that if they're reappearing, it's because likely they did not fully go away. Let's imagine, however, that you do get those rapids to go away. And you're like, oh yeah, that was a thing that happened. That's in the past, down back there in the river. And you keep going. But then something so bad happens, so traumatic happens, that it's not just, rocky rapids. It becomes a whirlpool in your river, and it hits the edge, right? Let's say the left edge in this case. And a whirlpool just sucks everything into it, right? In other words for it, like it's a maelstrom, okay? It's chaos. It's this vortex that just sucks it on down. And of course, you're in this river. You can't get out and get on the banks just yet. This is dangerous. And the thing is that when something traumatic happens and it creates a vortex in your river of life, it makes you feel like you are going to be sucked in. And so let's say this vortex takes up 50% of your river. All of a sudden, you can't go into that 50% of the river anymore. That is way too dangerous. So you stay away from it. and you stay only in the right side of the river, and your window of tolerance for life is now 50% of what it once was. You're not able to engage as fully as you were before because your body recognizes that that would be dangerous at this point in time. And if we could let that go and move past and slowly let that vortex shrink, then we would be good, great, golden. For those of us who this becomes more than just a singular trauma, it becomes more like PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. It stays and it doesn't get smaller. And things that happen begin to get sucked into that maelstrom, that vortex. And it feels even more dangerous, almost as if pieces of us are being sucked into it. And our body says, just stay away from it, avoid it at all costs, and you'll be fine. Look, this 50% of the river, it's great, right? I mean, it's just enough. But I don't want you to live a just enough life. I want you to be able to feel so confident on this river that slowly you are able to edge your boat, just lean into that vortex just enough that you don't get sucked in, you don't get overwhelmed, you don't crumble. You lean in just enough to know that you can, and then you come right back to that 50% of the river that you know is safe. And then when you're ready again, maybe you lean in another extra percentage more, just enough so that you know you can, and then you come right back. This is what trauma is like when it stays. It makes you feel like it is this terrifying thing that is with you always, but it doesn't have to be that way. If you are a person who is stuck in only 30% of what you are worth of living, 50%, 20%, 75%, if it's not 100%, I am talking to you, boo. You deserve to live a life that is 100% as full as it can be, 100% full. If you're struggling with something less than that, there are so many options you have to be able to say, I'm just going to take my boat right on in just a little bit and come on back until that whirlpool has effectively diminished to 0%. Until you can fully live your life again. And it is possible. I know, because I hear it every week, inevitably, as a trauma therapist myself and a drama therapist myself. I hear this weekly. I don't feel, Nina, like my PTSD can ever be healed. I don't feel like I can ever get rid of that trauma. And I will be honest with you. Whether it is rapids or whether it is a vortex, we cannot change the fact that it ever existed. We can't. What we can do is diminish its effect on where you are presently in the river until it is so non-existent that it becomes a part of where you have been and not where you are. You deserve more than something that happened once upon a time continuing to affect you for the rest of your life. Now, we're nearing the end of the episode. And of course, I'm wondering, what is your takeaway? I regularly, every week, I work with people who struggle with trauma. Every day, if I'm honest, I work with people who struggle with where they're at with their experience with trauma. It does not have to be a vortex in your life, and it doesn't have to remain rocky rapids either. We can do more. You can do more. And so some of the resources that I want to leave you with in this particular episode, especially as it is on mental health awareness, is if you have the rocky rapid situation or the vortex situation and you are not living your fullest breadth of life in the river that is your life, I want to invite you to head online and find a trauma therapist, right? Trauma. I happen to be a drama therapist that is also a trauma therapist. You can find that online. It's very easy. You might also want to look for some other key things, some other resources that I would offer is if someone specializes in CPT, that's cognitive processing therapy, you can head to Google and look up a little bit more on that too, specifically designed for people experiencing PTSD. You may also want to look up EMDR. That is a great tool used with trauma, as well as neurofeedback, which can be done outside at a treatment center, can also be done in the comfort and safety of your own home. Do head to Google on that or shoot me a message, and I will be happy, overjoyed to share with you a few resources on how I would get neurofeedback for you at your house. So, beyond this, I want you to let me know what you're playing with. Head to HoustonCreativeArtsTherapy.com/podcast, especially if you're looking to submit your own moment for an upcoming episode. I want to talk with you. For those of you who enjoy a bit of self-exploration, you know I'm going to leave you with a question for this upcoming week, and it's this. I want you to ask yourself, where are the rocky rapids in my life? Where are the vortexes in my life? How limited is my window of tolerance for life because of those rapids and those vortexes? I know that's 3 questions and it feels a little bit like cheating, but I promise you it's so worth it to ask yourself those 3 in that order. I want you to empower yourself to live your best life possible. Trauma, PTSD, they can be things that are in the past. They don't have to affect your present life and they don't have to move forward with you. Change is possible. Change is possible.
It's me again, reminding you that this was a throwback episode. I hope that you were able to take something from it, even one little nugget of wisdom, and use that between this week and next week, right? The purpose of these episodes is to give you tools. It is up to you to decide whether you want to become skilled in them. You picking up what I'm putting down? So take a tool, take something, a perspective, a moment, something that works for you, and use it in your life to transform hard conversations into teachable moments, to transform the way that you play with scary moments, right? To transform your life, to help make you the most courageous, most healing-oriented, most belonging person, right? No matter where you go, that you belong to yourself everywhere you go, right? Courage, healing, belonging, whatever it is that you are taking from this episode, take it with you so that you can get out there and live your most vibrant life, you beautiful human being, okay? All right, I'm signing off for now, but you know I'm gonna see you soon, okay? I'm gonna see you real soon. Bye for now. Thank you so much for being willing to explore healing your humanity on Empowered Human. I hope you found at least one new way to transform your worldview from powered to empowered. If you took something from the show, please take a moment of your time and subscribe to Empowered Human. And if it really nourished you, leave us a review. Your feedback helps me understand what our community needs. Not to mention, it helps others discover the empowered human life. So keep this last bit in mind. All the visual goodies come with me on Instagram at Drama Therapist Nina. Stay up to date there on upcoming episodes, behind the scenes goodness, and reels dropping knowledge. Thank you again for being part of the empowered human community. Until next time, stay curious.